All right, this is Liam Brown interviewing my grandma, Virginia Martinez. Okay, grandma. So, just tell when you got your teaching credential, where you went to school.
Okay, I did my undergraduate work at the University of Miami, and I did my credential at San Diego State. The same time, I made up majors in English and I had a double major in undergraduate work.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember, it must have been 1959 or 60 that I got my credential.
Okay. So you started teaching right after you got your credential, right?
No.
No.
I married your grandfather.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You remember that. And had two children.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to stay at home with them for the first 4 or 5 years of their lives and read Winnie the Pooh and have a lovely time.
There you go. There you go. So, first teaching job?
Was in adult school.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I started teaching in adult school. I taught ESL. I taught like high school subjects for people who were getting their high school diplomas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you went to where from there? Where was the next step?
I had to grieve our district because they said I couldn't teach in their high school because I had the wrong credential. But I had a lifetime credential, general secondary. They don't even,
do
I
that
should
anymore.
Oh my God, no.
No.
And but because administrators are sometimes hard of understanding, I did a major grievance, and 5 minutes before the time to go to court, they acceded and said, "Yeah, you're right. 5 minutes." And
What school district was this?
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm there with my 4-inch heels because I'm, short. And you don't want to do that when you're doing power plays. And my 4-inch spike heels and whatever. And I said, "We've decided." I said, "No, you haven't. I pushed you into this," which is
one of your
right.
first of many encounters with the Sweetwater School District.
Oh, yes. They made a big mistake because I got to know I was represented by the union.
Right.
And because I always felt that, in part, I owed my job to their representation of me, that I went ahead and kept working with the union.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Bargaining team, yeah.
First, so you went to Sweetwater, and talk a little bit about Sweetwater, like the demographics of the students when you were there, if you remember, the population.
Demographics were basically very much the same as they are now.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know the percentages.
Thanks.
A large percentage Mexican.
About 70%.
Yeah. And there are lots of Asians.
Yeah.
Islanders, white. There were more black kids there than there are now.
Yeah.
At Sweetwater. So it was a very, very diverse, mixed population.
Okay, good.
And it was more fun than you can ever believe. It was such fun. I had a great principal who I still talk about.
All the time.
All the time, because he was a character and because he understood that if you let your teachers be inventive and creative within reason, I knew where the line was when I got too crazy. But to be inventive and creative and a little bit crazy, you had a really wonderful atmosphere for kids to learn in. Because it permitted them to be creative and inventive and a little bit crazy.
Okay, so let's list off, if you can remember, all of the classes you taught at Sweetwater.
Oh, good Lord. I got hired because he wanted me there. And I had to teach refresher math, I swear.
Really?
Oh, it was awesome. I had all these football players in there, refresher math. But it was really cool because I had them adding up great sums of money, which they were going to make because obviously they were such great players.
Right.
And then they had to pay 10% to their agent and 5% for this and whatever. They could do math like you couldn't believe, as long as they had a personal. And I taught family life, sex, drugs, and rock and roll at Sweetwater.
Okay.
It was then. I had to do that for a semester, and then I taught mostly English and, of course, social science history.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
good. So you were at Sweetwater for what? 9 years?
10 years, 9 or 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, and then you went to Hilltop, right?
Yes.
And that's pretty much the same demographic, correct?
No, Hilltop is probably a little more middle class.
Yeah.
So and more white.
Mm-hmm.
Although vastly, probably 60% Hispanic.
Yeah.
But more white kids and more, more middle class, more money around. Yeah.
And there you taught a whole mess of things, right?
I had such fun. I taught a group where I had sophomores in advanced placement European history, combined with honors English. So they fed back and forth with one another. For example, when I was in the 18th century, I was teaching A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift. That was the English of the day. So it was an enormously wonderful thing to do.
Yeah. And
I taught that. I taught, oh goodness, what else did I? 10th grade English, AP English. I wound up teaching philosophy. I developed a philosophy class, and I taught Latin. I talked my one principal into putting in Latin. That was right before I retired, about 3 or 4 years before I retired.
Mm-hmm.
And the Latin program is still there.
Yeah.
Guy has a full schedule of Latin.
And it's one of the only ones in the area, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And I think every school should have Latin.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun. I taught French for a while. I have taught everything.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, thank you, Grandma. Perfect.